hop in Hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, ça change chasser. C'est chasser son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora y comunicadora social con más de 20 idiomas de trabajo. Y aquí vamos a estar jugando videojuegos, sobre todo GeoGuessr, y hablando de idiomas, la mejor forma de aprenderlo y caleta más. Zwei Zwetschgenzweigen zwitscherten zwei tschechische Schwalben. Tres tristes tigres tragaban trigo en un trigal en tres tristes trastos. Oh, I see. This is Diche Ishai Fui, which means, do you want food? But, yeah, are you hungry? That's also. How are the boys? Cocine tacos. Pozo milao. Pote. Buenese. Proteine. Protopolo. In the designated chicken eating area, obviously. Okay, still 3 times I have to do.
Lieb.
Monsieur.
See.
Livre. Liwe, livre. Paks.
Mustan kissan paksut posket.
Matjeje.
Ja.
Ja. Si. Isopi. Matjeje. Proč? Inter. Počkej. A. Si.
Track 6.
Aspri petrax es aspri aptoniliox ex asproteri. Aspri petrax es aspri apton iliox es asproteri.
Coginio panas.
Oh boy.
Ad ferad verda ferda vetri.
Jacob. Hefed.
Hefed.
Hefed. Hefed. Hefed. Hek. Hek. Hek.
Саша по шоссе.
А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку. А Саша по шоссе несла сушку на счастье и сосала сушку.
Mwalimu.
This is Arabic. And it's from Mu'allim.
Juma ni mwalimu mke. Ирак чима в чипах, чемп, чавю, ченчи, чини. Чирак чима в чипах, да, чирак чима в чипцах, чемп, чавю, ченчи, чини. Бакакит альшит. Хикрine. Бакакит альши, хикрine. Akakitsalshi Krikrips. Oh, thanks to cat sons. Meow and the pictures of the fish. That's they were proud. Söpe. Pupu.
Yrittävät. Uraista. Omena.
Are in the city center. And it's got some interesting aspects to it.
여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까? 여자는 어느 나라에 있습니까?
Countries or living things.
兄の名前は
Lo que pasa es que, bueno, la manera, y esto se ve en tantos lugares, no es cuestión regional, sino más bien de un problema fundamental de la pedagogía oficial de los idiomas extranjeros, y que la manera en que se enseñan en tantos lugares, en las clases, en el colegio, no tiene nada que ver con el estado actual de la investigación sobre lo que se llama adquisición de idioma.
Doesn't, you can try something else.
In fact, I would say often you really know you're getting it with languages if you can't really explain why something's right, but you just bloody well know it's right.
Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
l'ospitale
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Benedese. Had a beautiful day. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is squab, and that also means elephant.
Ça, ça, c'est ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça. Sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco. Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyperpolyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues.
10-159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Night. Night. None. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bakbaz. Bakbaz? Okay, Bakbaz is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré, des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré, des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo, io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi, dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io.
I buy a computer or what? And here's another example. I like to point these out. For this word for or sounds vaguely like hogun and the hok in hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that appears it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, c'est son chassé, ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt.
Hello and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I'm Elise, translator, writer, and editor with 20 working languages, and I don't know whether this stream is going to work or not. I'm hoping it will. I think I may have resolved whatever the problem was, except I'm not entirely sure what the problem was, and I think possibly it might be weather related, so this may end abruptly. But we're going to play some more Cult of the Lamb, which I've been quite enjoying. And yeah, see what else we can get in there, assuming this thing actually ends up working more or less okay. Hello, Eric's Blue, how you doing? Okay, let's get this thing started. Where are my windows? Ah, there we go. We shall see. I've, over the past week, actually begun to make sense out of how this thing works. Although not so much that I'm necessarily playing all that well. Okay, we've got some agricultural things to do. Because this game, it's like sort of goth Stardew Valley with fighting. Looks like people could use something to eat, so take care of that. Bouillon de viande nourrissant. Okay, here we go. At the same time, it has like a little bit of oxygen not included going in there. Let's get them eating something. Because clearly they need it. Oh, got a new follower. Neat. There we go. Been accepted into the cult of the Lamb. Okay, everybody's having some gastronomic difficulties very clearly. André, stade tout à fait. Ascension du adepte. Quelle chance d'avoir assisté à un tel miracle. Ouais. Allez manger quelque chose. Tout le monde. There we go. For now, that should be okay. That should work. Now it's time to go off into the dark forest. I didn't mean to do that. And we get so many of those. Oh, I can't step in that green stuff. Avoid that. Ah, there we are. What looks like a saxophone or something. Playing this in the French translation, which is pretty good, I have to say, overall. Les prélats de la vieille croyance. Now we get some cards, which give us powers and other things. Because this is also a deck builder game, it has a lot of stuff going on. There are all sorts of different elements, and then it has just these adorable, just beautifully done graphics. Okay, let's stay on parler. Okay. Not liking my chances unless there's some hearts available at some point to replenish. Yes, I am not just a lamb. Hello, Hexen Definitive. I am the lamb. And we're hoping that this connection stays up. I think the storm is causing problems. That's why I started so late. So I couldn't get it to connect at all, or at least not have a stable connection. No, not power problems, and like my internet connection in general is fine. I haven't had problems with that. But I was getting a ridiculous number of dropped frames, and it was just constantly disconnecting and reconnecting. It seems to be okay now, though. Oh, good. There's a heart. Arche fleurie. Une arche de fleurs de vigne tissée. Okay, what's my health situation? Still not great. Bien le bonjour, aimable agneau. Si tu survis au prochain combat sans utiliser les maléfices, tu mériteras une récompense. Mais si tu échoues, alors tu n'auras plus que tes yeux pour pleurer, aimable agneau. Ooh, okay, he's betting me. If I can get through this without curses, then I will win a reward. And if, on the other hand, I fail to do so by using a curse, then I lose everything, all of my items. We're having very exciting weather today. Extremely windy. Oh, okay, here we go, some hearts. Good, I need hearts. L'instant de répit dans l'œil du cyclone. Okay, max. Okay, we got max life now. That's a relief. Okay, we're stealing the devotion. And now where are we going? We're going to do some more fighting stuff. I basically don't use the curses in general just because I find there are all the left bottom and right bottom buttons on the controller, which I'm not used to using anyway. So I may actually manage this. Oh, hell. When you die in this game, you come back, but you lose 15% of the stuff that you just picked up in the last run. Okay, time for a sermon. Curses of the Tundra. Okay. Okay, which one am I supposed to be accepting, though? Oh here we go. Yes, this is a Steam game. Oh, got a fair bit of devotion off of that. Pour un rituel doctrine. Okay, what rituals have we got? Oh, we'll do the fire of joy. Feu de joie. And you see, part of the problem is you get all these followers, and then they may or may not actually remain loyal to you, and you have to sort of be careful to maintain their loyalty. Oh, also, they shit all over the place. Okay, you need some rest. Okay. Finally, we get a poste de soin, sort of a first aid station kind of thing. We need to refine wood. Also, let's see. Some basic berries. A bunch of people are hungry, according to the stomachs above their heads. To build anything more complicated, you have to send stuff to the refinery. Is he? That's surprising. I wouldn't have picked him as being into rap music in general. More shite. This game does do a lot with shite. Oh, I see. Those things overflow and then they just start shitting everywhere. And then people start complaining and getting sick. But you, for some reason that I have not been able to determine, there does not seem to be a way to actually make them do that. Okay, now we have to discipline him because he is becoming rebellious. Okay, here we go. Let's go back to the Dark Forest and see what we can manage. And how's the stream looking on your end, incidentally? Weapons. Yeah, that's just the lighting. That Okay, the quality is what I was worried about. Okay, that's weird. It shouldn't be. But, I mean, if it's working at all, I'm happy at the moment, because it's having a hell of a time with getting it started at all. So I kept on disconnecting and reconnecting. Damn it. That didn't last long. I think I have it set to automatically go to the maximum available quality. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow the storm is having something to do with that, because I don't usually have this kind of problem, and like this game can't be it, because I was not having this problem last week when I was playing this. So I don't think I've ever played Diablo. Yeah, I did that, and the speed was fine. I mean, like, the only thing that is wrong is my connection to YouTube. The only thing that I'm having problem with, yeah, I mean, the speed range was just fine. I'm not having trouble, like, logging into websites and getting connected to there or anything. Everything else is fine. It's just the connection to YouTube is buggered at the moment. There we go. Passer. Et la lumière fut. And there was light. Okay. And I've only got one heart left. Not great. Make sure I don't have that damn thing fall on me. Okay, 1/2 heart. Okay, slight improvement. We got any options that involve a heart? Well, this is a question mark. We'll see what happens in the question mark. Les liens de la famille ont laissé place aux chaînes de la soumission. The bonds of family have given way to the chains of submission. Un pouvoir en apparence incontrôlable est pourtant réduit à néant. An apparently uncontrollable power and yet reduced to nil. Les idées pernicieuses et anéanties avant d'avoir pu se propager. Pernicious ideas destroyed before they were able to spread. Quelle cruauté! Et là, que pouvait-il faire d'autre? What cruelty? Alas, what else could they have done? Qui peut vaincre la mort? Who can conquer death? Ellipsis. Personne ne le peut. Nobody can. Let's see if there's sometimes in all the underbrush and stuff there are worthwhile items, so I just whack all that stuff. 2.5 hearts, it's not terrible. Okay, nix some devotion. extra heart there? No. Okay, let's see. Anything hidden in the underbrush of interest? No, but I'm up to 2.5 hearts, which isn't terrible. Now there we are. Any hearts available? No, not yet anyway. Sometimes there's one hiding in the underbrush. Oh hey, for example there, that's a half heart. Okay, I got 2 hearts, that's not terrible. It's going to be challenging. Un cœur offert, une promesse ténue, et la pâte et lapin augmente vos chances de trouver des coffres intéressants. Okay. The rabbit's foot increases your chances of finding interesting boxes. There we go, get 2 extra cards. La malédiction divine. Les maléfices consomment 20% moins de ferveur. 25% less fervor consumption on curses. Double les soins reçus. Doubles care received. Okay, down to 1 heart and 1 green heart. And that didn't last long. I think I'll go fishing. And this is another very Stardew Valley aspect of it. It's the same fishing mechanic. Oh, I got wood apparently. Swordfish. The other fisherman there is a fish in disguise, something that he occasionally hints at. now it is nighttime. Let's head back home to the cult. La foi que vous nous portons n'a jamais été aussi basse. Vous devez restaurer notre foi ou nous n'aurons pas d'autre choix que de vous abandonner. Gardez l'esprit que sont votre culte. Vous n'êtes rien. Okay, apparently we're having a crisis of faith over at the Cult of the Lamb. Oh no, that's not what I meant to do. I was trying to... Venir. And let's see... What else can we do? There, little gift. Oh, what just happened there? Yes, get some sleep. See, when that triangle with the hands together, the praying hands, starts to fill up, that means you've got some difficulties. Okay, we're going to do some cooking. Add some decorations. They tend to like that. Okay. Anything we can do to increase faith? That's the bit I haven't entirely worked out, is the retention aspect of things. Having a feast. This gains 25% of faith. So that's something anyway. Merit. Okay, wait a second. Is it not letting me? Well, there we go. Faith and rest and stuff are back in the green range. That helps. Vous êtes réellement une créature divine. Okay, they've got something to say to me. Oh, everyone's telling me what a divine creature I am. Oh, okay, we can unblock another building. Or unlock, I mean. Okay, what else do we need? Okay. More oh no, we got plenty of camellias. It's the wood that we need to refine. There we go. People are getting hungry. Oh, well, there's tons of food. That shouldn't be a problem. Go eat a thing. Let's see. Add some more. Okay, they need rest. They need eating. Yes, of course. There's shite. That is one constant in this game. There is a lot of shite. Poste des nettoyages, poste des soins. I think we may need to do some rituals. No, we can't. We don't have the stuff to do the rituals. But I'm requiring... So I have to go out and get stuff. Hopefully not get my ass kicked this time. Ah, hell, that's right. Let's get some cards. Les culs de la foi. 10% de chance de bloquer les dégâts en reçu. Le cœur. Ah, octroie un demi-cœur supplémentaire. Get an extra half heart and an added chance of blocking damage received. 10% de chance d'infliger un coup critique. 10% chance of critical hit. Double care received. Okay, not bad. Let's see. Some camellias. Those come in handy for various purposes. Evil guinea pigs. At least that's what they look like to me. Okay. Get anything good in the underbrush? Oh, there we go. And that's my ass kicked again. I'm going to take a little bio break. I will be back in just a few minutes. Hi, and welcome to Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. I am Elise, translator, editor, and writer with 20 working languages, and this is where we talk about languages and language learning and all sorts of other stuff, and we play games.
Perfect. Okay, 3 of 4.
El hospital
還元一級の先というのは、本当に誰も知らない字ばっかりでしょうね。私は
Okay, we've leveled up and it is time to pick another language. Morfar är tröttare än vanligt. Maten är färdig. And let's see what we're doing when we get back. Greek. We're doing Greek when we get back. Benedese. How to do the Fulande. Fun fact. Turkish. Hello, Shakespeare. How you doing? Fun fact, in Spanish, the word for bishop in chess is alfil. And that actually comes from Arabic. Fil. The same word fil as this. Meaning elephant, because the bishop traditionally was to represent elephant units somehow. Similarly, in Russian, the word for bishop is squab, and that also means elephant. Okay.
ça, ça, ah c'est ça, que c'est ça, non ça, c'est ça. Sol chi sa che nulla sa, ne sa più di chi ne sa. Ecco.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Hyperpolyglotting avec Élise. Moi, c'est Élise, traductrice, éditrice et écrivain avec 20 ans de travail. Et ça, c'est la transmission en direct ou en jeu des jeux, surtout GeoGuessr en dernier temps. Et parle des langues, de la linguistique, de l'acquisition des langues. 10:159. Haven't made a huge dent in it, but we're getting there. Okay, gonna do some Chinese now. Nei. Come on. Yen. Yo. 5. Ducks are drinking wine. Bamba, okay, Bambas is duck. Okay, I have now leveled up. Let's see what the XP situation is now. 10,340 out of 12,500. And as always, viewers can choose my next language for me just with a follow and a $5 to my Patreon.
Sotto le frasche del capanno 4 gatti grossi stanno. Sotto 4 grossi sassi, 4 grossi e grassi gatti. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré, des généraux dégénérés. Un généreux déjeuner régénéré, des généraux dégénérés. Facile. Sì, ecco, la gente... è la cosa che mi dice la gente, sempre che scoprisce che quante lingue parlo. Io sempre avevo l'impressione, diciamo, di che non era così, non era tan così, ma poi dopo di aver visto qualche poliglota in YouTube, una delle cose che avevo scoperte era giustamente che la metodologia usata da quella gente poliglota che non avevo mai conosciuta prima, era più o meno la stessa metodologia che usavo io.
I buy a computer or quack, and here's another example. I like to point these out. for this word for or, but sounds vaguely like Hogun and the hok in Hogun in Korean or waku in Japanese, and that because it is the exact same kind of character.
Okay, let me see.
Un chasseur, sa chassé, ses chassés sont son chien de chasse.
Der dicke Dach.
Okay, der dicke Dachdecker deckt dir dein Dach, drum dank dem dicken Dachdecker, dass der dicke Dachdecker dir dein Dach deckt. Hola y bienvenidos al directo de Hyperpolyglotting with Elise. Yo soy Elisa, traductora, escritora y editora.
And I'm back. Hello, Eric's Blue. Let's see, this camera isn't quite where I need it to be. Okay. Weather continues to be quite exciting outside. We're getting the ass end of a hurricane here. How's your day going, Eric's Blue? Go get some rest. And can I first aid station as well? There we go. And now let's see if I can fight and not get my ass kicked this time. Oh good, I get the axe. That makes life so much easier. Okay, and 3 hearts to go. Okay, we've got 2 question marks to choose from on our map. Ah, there we go. Not bad. Soil de forêt. Bottom of the soil of the forest. This is a new kind of floor covering that you can build in the compound area. Oh, good. And a card and a heart. La maîtrise de l'art. Multiplie les dégâts de l'arme par 1,2. Okay, damage multiplier. Handy. Ooh, coins and... Ooh. Another floor covering. Lava floor. Careful where you put your paws. we've got here. Okay. Either get some wood. Go this way, we can also get a new disciple. Okay, oh yes, so we're getting to tear up trees and things to get some more wood to build stuff with. Anything else going on in here? Okay, time to get a new follower. Fucking guinea pigs. Rescuing. I've got one heart to go. Let's see if we find some supplementation somewhere in the brush. Sometimes there's just a heart lying around. Not finding one yet. Finding other crap though. Ah, the shop. The 3 days of summer we have lived filled my heart with such pleasure after 50 years of osmosis. Get a fragment of a commandment stone. That allows me to have new doctrines. Now, with one heart left, let's see if I can get some devotion. Oh, 2 hearts, that's a relief. Because we're moving towards the final boss here. And doing that on 1 heart was going to be difficult. Another half heart. Got another. Any more of those lying around? Where are we going now? Oh, we're getting our asses kicked again. a new recruit. Wait, there are two who are having... faith-related issues. That's not great. Okay. Well, that's... oh, I missed the sermon. That doesn't help. There's some sort of crown thing I can do now. Ok, we get to have a doctor inspiration débloque la possibilité d'inspirer un adepte pour grandement augmenter sa fidélité. Et remplace l'action bénir. Okay, go with that. We're going to do some inspiring. Apparently it replaces the action of blessing and is more powerful. Okay, and there's some new doctrine shit to do. Okay. Still having some faith problems. Okay, that's not helping. Okay, I gotta build some more housing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and he just goes right back to telling me to fuck myself, apparently. Okay. Okay, that seems to improve matters very slightly. Let's see what we got in the world of rituals that we can do. I could... Ascension. No, we can't do the Ascension. Okay, there's somebody hungry. So let's do some inspiration. I haven't done the inspiration before. And now eat. Okay, what are you talking about? Vénérable guide des créatures affamées vivent dehors, non loin du culte. Nous devons leur offrir les gîtes. Okay, yeah, well, let's do it. We're gonna do a quest. Okay, we've got some new members. Ayez pitié. Ok, j'aurais pitié. Puis, vous avez une nouvelle là, depuis le troupeau s'agrandit. Grègre est en train de mourir de faim. C'est qui Grègre? Ah, oui. On va manger quelque chose. Okay, add some sleeping bags. You need some sleep. And that's full of shite. Oh, Témoin Agar has a poem. Sur le sol sacré, je marche et l'adore pour célébrer la couronne de gloire qu'il arbore. Émotionner mes propres mots me transporte. Agir. Inspirer. More shite. What's this? Let's build some stuff. And let's see if we can have another go at this. And I've got some videos to look at as well. Interesting one from Days and Words, who always has fairly sound ideas. Damn it, I shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna need that. I'm going to regret that, probably. And a half heart back. Some Ophelias. Oh, wrong way. Coins. Do we get any hearts? Doesn't look like it, but sometimes they're hiding in the brush. Let's see. What have I got here in terms of videos to examine and react? Just put a bunch of them up on my special playlist of stuff to react to. I have so much stuff on here, it always takes forever for me to scroll. Get the name Waka. Anyone who's interested, the Polyglot Conference, the online global Polyglot Conference, is actually going to be starting on the 10th of October. There's still time to register. It's a £30 donation, though you can do less than that. It is just a donation to the operating costs. So people who can't afford it can't afford 30 quid can pay less. And it's a great event. I've gone several times now. Let's see. Yes, you can. Why you can't understand fast French? 25 ways not to learn a language. Okay, this should be interesting. There we go. Come on. Load, please. Oh, what the hell is this? It's my ad blocker. Skip. Okay, skip. There we go.
Making it to C1 or a degree of fluency in a foreign language is not just about knowing what to do, but also convincing yourself to do it. But
okay, all quite true.
It's actually easier to do if you know exactly what not to do. So I've made...
Okay, this should be interesting. He generally has very sound ideas. This is Days and Words, Lamont. He generally has very good ideas about language learning. Videos are always entertaining. Let's see what he has to say this time. Here's just dropping a link in chat for anyone.
Made this
definitely worth
reverse list
subscribing.
of 25 things to do in order to make sure that you stay at A1 or A2 in a foreign language.
Now, when we're talking for people who aren't familiar with this lingo, A2, A1, C2, whatever, these are references to what's called the Common European Framework, and each of these levels, that goes, the lowest level is A1, and then the highest level is C2, and it's basically what you're able to actually do in a language. You know, can you just do some like basic pleasantries, or can you like spontaneously discuss, you know, a wide range of subjects and things like that.
If you take this list and do the exact opposite, knowing exactly what you should avoid, fluency is just a matter of time. My name's Lamont. Let's do it. Number one is to blame genetics and or your circumstances. I'm not good at languages.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people think that. A lot of people, I mean, I speak a fair number of languages, and so when, that subject comes up, people always say to me, like, oh, I'm just crap at languages or whatever. And the thing is, actually, probably not. Most likely, they have not been exposed to methods that actually work, because much of what is used in schools and universities doesn't.
I don't have enough time. I have kids. I don't live where anyone speaks the language. Yeah, okay, so in other words, you're a human who lives in a human situation. Sorry, I forgot. Shana chicos, number two. Torpedo your own focus with internet notifications, mobile devices. It is extremely easy to stay at A2 in a language if you're just never allowed to sit and be with a chunk of that language, because...
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to focus on it. And stress, it's worth noting, turns out, I mean, there is actually, this has been studied, stress is actually toxic to language acquisition. You want to be in a low-stress environment, preferably without interruptions and stuff like that, so you can actually focus on it. Once you actually have the right kind of input, which is important, it has to be like just beyond your level, and it has to be something that's actually interesting to you, so you care about it and want to see what happens next, rather than forcing yourself to focus on it.
Because someone said something on Discord or made a new TikTok. Better get right onto that. It doesn't happen a bazillion times a day. Look, I'm not trying to lecture you, okay? I'm not exactly a monk with this stuff myself, and I'm a YouTuber, so I also contribute to the problem. Flight mode exists. Removing apps is possible. Not having a Twitter account at all is possible, and I speak from experience when I say fantastic. Right, number...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk has done a great job of making the case for just not having Twitter, it's true.
3, take all the things that they did or do in high schools to learn a language and repeat them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, 90%, I would say, of the people that I encounter who say, oh, they're just not good at languages or whatever, it is because they have learned these completely empirically unsupported methods that are used all over schools and universities, where it's like, it's all skills-based, and now we're going to do some explicit grammar instruction. Would you like to go and conjugate the verb? comparecer on the board, and it's like this does not actually cause people to learn languages. Even anyone who's learned a language, having taken courses like that, has learned the language because they were doing something useful at the same time. This stuff mostly just serves to convince people they're no good at languages. If you just kind of pretend that you didn't know any of that, the bullshit that they teach you in school, the methods, and just stick to and just ignore them, and stick to methods that involve a lot of input, a lot of patience with yourself, then you will already be much better off. Yeah. I mean, you can just more or less bin everything you learned about teaching a language when you were in school. Unless you're lucky.
Are fantastically ineffective. Did you learn all the conjugations for the verb to be in German? Yeah, so did I. Do I speak German? No. Number 4, start learning new languages whenever it takes your fancy. Okay, you don't need to be held down to one language. There are 7,000 languages in the world. You can learn one every 4 days so that you'll...
I will say, yeah, I mean, if you never actually spend any time on a language and you just keep on, like, starting one and then just abandoning it and doing another, that's not going to work. But if you, if you spend some time with a language, get bored with it, and there's another language that you occasionally also work on and you go back to that, that can actually work. You can actually, make progress doing that. But if all you're doing is flitting about from, a few languages where you've never really done much of anything in them and you haven't really had much exposure to them and stuff like that, that's never going to get you anywhere. But, I have languages that I will sort of work on for a while because I've got some materials I can use, some good, input and stuff like that, and then I sort of get bored and switch over to something else because I have a bunch that are sort of on the go where I would like to get better at them than I am. And that can, you can make progress doing that. I mean, it's a matter of how much time you spend on it and what you're doing with it between flits.
You'll never speak any of them. It sounds awesome. Number 5, learn another language because someone tells you to learn that language. And in general, you should value other people's opinions about what you should do more than your own opinion.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Very good one to have on there. Because the thing is, the motivation matters. The more motivated you are with the language, with the specific materials you're looking at or listening to or whatever in the language, the better you're going to do. If somebody just says, okay, it would be a good idea to learn this thing, and it's a language that you have absolutely no interest in, you're not going to get anywhere with it. I mean, unless you just happen to be lucky and you find, some kind of, content, some videos or books or whatever like that you really just, that capture your fancy and you really want to know more and stuff like that, then that can work. But if your entire motivation is somebody told you to, you're not going to get far.
Will you even know that person in 3 to 7 years when you've learned the language? Probably not. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll be impressed anyway. Just a quick note, that also applies to me and other people on the internet and stuff. Don't learn a language because you think I'll be impressed. I won't be. I will be. I'll give you a pat on the head. That's very good. Number 6, fail once, quit forever. Did you try watching a TV series in the target language without English subtitles and you couldn't understand it? It doesn't work. Don't try again. Your brain will not adapt to new structures. Just go around telling everyone how this immersion stuff doesn't work. By the way, that move...
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of reasons that something that you watch is not really seeming to help. First of all, you have to understand that what we're talking about is implicit learning. Implicit because you don't realize it's going on. It is not a conscious process. So, just because you don't realize that you are actually acquiring the language while you're exposing yourself to some sort of materials in the language, doesn't mean it's not happening. The other thing is that sometimes you've got the stuff you're looking at, the stuff you're reading or listening to, just isn't great. Maybe you don't find it particularly interesting. Maybe they're talking way too fast, and there's just too much going on for it to be comprehensible at your current level, and then you might want to just look for other stuff, other materials and things like that. But don't abandon it all, altogether. There are all sorts of reasons that you might not actually be making progress with something that you're currently doing, including that what you're currently doing might just not be a great way of doing it and you need to just try another approach. But, I mean, this all really comes down to your state of mind at a given time, the methods that you're using, and the sort of materials you're using in order to implement those methods. And abandoning it altogether is definitely not going to help, but trying new materials, new approaches,
This is
could.
into number 7. If you want to stay bad at a language, make sure to take advice from people who have not learned a language to fluency as an adult. There are lots of adults out there who either cannot speak a second language or did not learn that second language as an adult, but will have all sorts of tips.
Alright, you want some advice? Here's some advice.
You should definitely make sure to listen to those people. Number 8, don't immerse in more basic content.
What is this baseball shirt he's got on? Is this like the Spider-Man baseball team?
Especially kids content, because that's one of the more enjoyable ways to progress to content meant for adults.
Yeah. I mean, this is useful particularly if you like to find dubbed versions of stuff that you already enjoy watching, because a lot of stuff that is like kids content is dubbed even in languages that generally don't go in for dubbing, like say Finnish or Swedish or Dutch. So actually that opens up all sorts of possibilities, and it's often a lot easier to start out with because it doesn't require you to have a whole lot of vocabulary that you wouldn't necessarily have. Sometimes the speech is also slower, it's clearer and stuff like that. It doesn't, so that is actually one of my favorite pieces of advice on what to do.
Even if you did want to watch Bluey, the best kids show ever made, in a target language, where would you even find it? I mean, okay, yes, that and thousands of hours of other good stuff might be available on public services that are free to citizens of that country, but to access that you need a VPN.
Did someone say VPN?
Oh, hey, Surfshark. I was actually just about to tell my language learning audience about you.
Oh, cool. Surfshark speaks many languages.
When did you learn those?
Why don't you connect it from all different countries?
So you're saying that just being able to access stuff from other countries has a language learning benefit?
Mais oui, absolument. Not
Yeah.
only can you access
I mean, it is one of the best things. And incidentally, there's a lot of it you can just get on YouTube. It's amazing how much stuff, particularly in languages that are hard to find otherwise, you can find on YouTube. Because basically everybody's state broadcaster has a YouTube channel. And if you just know the name of that, you can find that, and you can just sort of, even if you don't have enough vocabulary to do good search terms or whatever in the language, you can, if you find the channels and you look through the, you look through their videos, you can just go on Wikipedia and find the name of whatever the main broadcasters are in a country. Go on YouTube, just look at the channels there of these like TV stations or whatever, and you can see what there is. And once you start to find some examples of what's available, you can find examples of things you're actually interested in and start from there. It's really quite amazing that you like, if you want to watch like the news in Dzongkha, which I think I'm probably mispronouncing, because that's a language I know literally nothing about, then I mean that's available.
content and sometimes even languages on streaming services that have been blocked. You can sometimes even access free content that is only available within a country.
I don't know, it sounds like a lot of mucking around.
Oh, it's easy. First you download it, install it, then you choose a country, connect, and go to go.
Yeah, but I want to put it on my phone as well so that I can get audio books in different languages. Then there's like my wife, my son's laptop, iPad, something. By the time I'm talking everything, it's like 5 or 6 different subscriptions.
But you don't know, Surfshark covers your whole household under une seule subscription.
Okay, that's good, but that must cost a fortune.
Wrong again. If people use the QR code on screen or the link in the description, get a discount code for vaccine to get up to 4 months extra. It comes up to about the price of a coffee bar.
Does sound pretty good, but I should probably really buy a proper antivirus rather than using this one I found my garbage.
No, but Surfshark also has a proper antivirus fully integrated and that reach.
Yeah, I mean, I can't vouch for any of this, and they're not sponsoring my shit. But the idea of using a VPN to access content in your target languages, absolutely a very sound idea. It's one I use a lot. Like if you're trying to learn Czech, there's a bunch of stuff on Czech Netflix, which exists, that you can't get outside of, if you don't use a VPN to trick Netflix into thinking that you are there.
Okay, that was weird. Anyway, number 9 is to go around telling everyone, and thus telling yourself as well, that your target language is really, really hard. That'll give your subconscious a reason to avoid it. Number 10, say that you don't have time.
See, I guess that might be for some people. Personally, when I've heard that a language is really hard, that attracts me to it. That has just always been how it is. Like, if somebody tells me something's absolutely impossible to learn or something like that, it's like, oh, well, we'll see about that. I don't know. For other people, that I can see how that would be a turn-off and potentially, like, psychologically cause them to avoid the language. But for me, it's like, the reason that I ever took an interest in Finnish, which is a language I can, like, read it reasonably well. I'm not bad at Finnish. I'm limited, I think, by the fact that I've never really spent a whole lot of time amongst Finnish speakers. Because Finland is expensive, and it's just not really been on the way to anywhere. But the reason that I first took an interest in Finnish is that I read, there's this book by Kenneth Katzner called The Languages of the World, one of them, and it's really a useful reference. But the section on Finnish says, oh, it's generally thought of as a very difficult language because it has all these different noun cases, and it's not Indo-European, so the word words don't necessarily relate to anything you're familiar with, or whatever. And I remember just hearing that and thinking, okay, I have to learn this language. If it's that hard, that sounds fascinating.
Because when you say you don't have time, it becomes true. I don't have time either. I've got kids. I've got stuffed animals who insist on talking to me about VPNs. But weirdly, I've had a lot of time lately to watch lots of Major League Baseball. Seiya Suzuki!
He's doing baseball is becoming a recurring thing. He didn't used to do anything in his videos. Then there was a whole one of the last ones where there was a whole bit where he's dreaming that he has a baseball-related YouTube channel rather than a language-related YouTube channel.
Get how that works. Number 11, never use material made for native speakers. I'm talking movies, TV shows, books, audiobooks. They're all made by and for native speakers. You want to stay well away from that stuff.
I mean, that is... And, again, this is a great one to do the exact opposite of. Because the most interesting content and the largest amount of interesting content in whatever language you might be interested in is going to be content made for native speakers, and at least some of it will be something that you can actually work with. That is absolutely the best kind of stuff, because the more it is a natural content in the language as opposed to something that is in some way modified for learners, the better that's going to be if you find the right stuff.
Instead, you should spend all your time looking for the best learning resources, because there are little dirty puddles of that around the place that you can kind of scoop up, rather than dipping your toe into the gross, fresh river of stuff made for native speakers. Number 12 pairs perfectly with number 11, and that is to wait until you are good at the language before you try doing anything difficult in the language. Don't try reading a book in the language. Look, you're never going to do that. Look how many words there are. You can't do that. Native speakers...
Yeah, I mean, and the reason a lot of people will get discouraged from that is because there's a lot they don't understand. But the thing is, you can keep on doing it. You just you can do it anyway. I mean, if you're reading something and you don't understand anything, like absolutely nothing, you don't even get a broad gist of what's going on, that's probably not going to be a useful thing for you to read for now. But if you find something where it's like you don't understand half of it, or maybe you understand like 2/3 of it, you understand a fair bit, but there's a whole lot you don't understand, rather than getting really frustrated and rather than, say, looking up every word, which is pointless, you won't retain it. It just takes you out of the experience and, you lose the flow of it. What you can, if you just read it and try to get what you can get, you will gradually find that you are getting more and more. Like, I mean, I've done this, like, Georgian, which, speaking of languages that are, like, generally thought of as hard, and for good reason, Georgian's tough. But I will say, like, my experience, I found, like, a chess book in Georgian. And I understood very little starting out. like just like the names of chess pieces and stuff, which I got off of Georgian chess videos. But then I kind of kept going, and because there were sentences where I definitely knew what the point of it was, even if I didn't understand all of the words, gradually more words became accessible, and the more words become accessible, the more words they will help to make accessible, and you just gradually pick up more and more as a result of that. It is so, it's easy if you get frustrated. You can get frustrated pretty easily if you're trying to understand every word, but if you're just, at least initially, trying to get the broad sense of what's going on, you will actually make a lot of progress. You won't necessarily even realize it initially, but you will, because you're giving yourself something where you can start to fill in the blanks as you understand more.
Kids are born knowing all those words. That's why they are the only people who can do anything difficult like read novels in the target language. Number 13, if by some misfortune you do end up spending real time in the target language, then at least make sure not to get repeat exposure to the same pieces of material, because that is pretty much what toddlers do to get really good at their native languages.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, I will say, one of the things that made me really good in Japanese is watching Japanese dubbed X-Files over and over and over again on in the 90s, until I was really understanding every single utterance that was coming out. I mean, and this is why it's important to find stuff you actually like too, because you want to be able to watch it over and over again. Because the more you do that, the more it is going to sink in. The more things you're going to notice, the more your brain's going to get used to the rhythms of it and stuff like that. Repetition is important.
It is a horrifically efficient way to get good at the language. Don't repeat stuff. Number 14, always start tomorrow. That is the best time to start, because you can tell yourself that you're going to start tomorrow and you can actually mean it, but you never actually have to start, because tomorrow is never here. It is never tomorrow. It is only ever now. Profound, right? Number 15, apps. Use them. Use lots of them. Use them a lot.
Yes. I'm sure there might be some apps out there that are actually not bad, but the really popular ones, how can I put this? They suck shit.
Bonus points if you can wait for an app to get the particular language that you want to learn, and bonus points if you're waiting for an app that does not even exist. Because let's face it, 2024 is not the best time in history to be learning a language. It was much easier like 100 years ago when the world didn't have any problems.
I mean, I will say, having started language learning back in the 80s and through the 90s, it is so much easier now. Like, we didn't have, like, YouTube and fucking VPNs and Netflix and all that stuff. And nautical-themed websites where you can get things without necessarily having to worry about geo-blocking and stuff, or paying a whole lot of money. But, you just had to, like, I used to have to do, find people in countries who could go and try to find books for me and stuff like that, because now you can just order this stuff. Now you can just find it anywhere. You can sometimes find it as PDFs and everything. It is way easier now.
Problems at all, and you could just save up for like 2 months to send your money off somewhere random so that you could maybe get 45 minutes of French lessons on a vinyl. Number 16, speaking of technology that exists in 2024 or 2025, go around telling yourself and everyone else that this whole language learning malarkey is a complete waste of time, because the AI is coming, my friend.
Oh god, this is just like the bane of translators' existence. Not only, I mean, not exclusively, other people are also getting screwed over it, but the thing is, it's not so much the AI that's screwing us as Dunning-Kruger. It's DK AI. Because people who don't know anything about, translating, don't necessarily know more than one language, look at AI, think that it's doing the thing they need it to do, are not in a position to judge themselves because they either don't know the target language or they don't know the source language or whatever, and decide that this is probably cheaper than paying somebody who actually knows how to do this shit. And it is made life very difficult for an entire profession.
And when
without actually improving the quality or the availability of the thing that profession does.
No one will be impressed by anyone who has actually learned a skill the human way. Because let's face it, when machines learn to do things, everyone ceases to be impressed by humans who can still do those things. That's what happened with chess. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think. And by the way, I'd much rather talk to the translator app in your phone than talk to you, a human person. Gross. Number 6.
Yeah, and of course, the translator app in your phone is not going to get it right. And if you don't know the language at least a little, you're not even going to know why it's getting it wrong.
17, and again, you can avoid most of the pitfalls of this list if you just decide to avoid discomfort of any kind. Only ever do things that are easy and fun now. Number 18, never do rough drafts. Never put anything out there that is not completely ready. Never just scrap something together for a native speaker to check and get you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the fear of making mistakes probably is one of the biggest impediments to people speaking. Like, beyond the, getting to the point where you can at least passively understand the language, to actually be able to actively use it. If you're afraid of making mistakes, and you allow that to stop you using the language when you have opportunities to do it, you're never going to get better. You really have to just accept that you're going to screw up, and that the most of the time when you're dealing with native speakers who they will know that you're going to screw up, they will recognize that you're a learner. It will probably be obvious early on. You may get to the point where nobody notices that. But early on, people will recognize this is not your native language. And they will expect that you will make some mistakes. They may even be able to predict the sort of mistakes that you'll make. If they're people who are used to dealing with people from wherever you're from, whatever native language background you're from, who are learning their language. And so those mistakes will not be as much of a problem as you are mentally making them out to be. People will get over them, and if you don't make them, you will not learn from them.
You feedback on, don't do any of that. In fact, you can apply this to your whole life. If you're a filmmaker, don't make a short film that mightn't be that good but hones your skills. You don't want to do that. If you can't make Interstellar on the first go, just don't try.
So don't try anything.
Number 19, learn all the standard and most common things that people know in that language, even if they don't claim to speak it, and just learn to say those really well with better pronunciation so that you can correct people who just casually say that word, because nothing really cements your status as an A1 or A2 speaker of the language than correcting someone who wasn't even trying to claim to speak the language anyway. So don't learn anything more relevant to native speakers or...
Yeah. And the thing is, often those cliched phrases from other languages that have sort of made it into English or whatever, often those aren't actually things in the language that they're supposedly from. Often they are actually created by English speakers, and nobody in French or whatever, nobody who speaks French for whatever will even be familiar with them as meaning the thing you think they mean.
Or anything like that. Just keep saying fika, but correct other people on how to say it.
Oh, this is Days and Words, who great channel, very sound ideas about language acquisition, and he's doing a list of things definitely that are great ideas if your goal is never to get good at a language. Hello, Riveroon, good to see you. Had some technical difficulties, I think, related to the wonderful storm we're having right now. But things seem to be working more or less well right now. Finally.
Number 20. Make and then break promises to yourself and others which will reinforce your self-image as someone who does not follow through. I actually made one of my most difficult to make and most viewed videos worse by deciding that I was going to be a person who does follow through on what they say. It was my watching Spider-Verse 50 times video. The Spanish I speak at the end of that with Andrea is not as good as it could have been, because that video was taking up all my time and energy. So I hadn't heard a single word of Spanish for weeks, and then I realized too late that I'd scheduled that call, and I considered postponing the call by a day or two while I brought my Spanish back up to speed, because I wanted the video to be the best that it could be, but I also wanted to keep my meeting with Andrea because she was being generous with her time and energy.
Yeah.
I didn't want...
Yeah, I mean, and this is also the thing, especially when you are really just beginning to get the language cemented into your head. There will be very much a warming up sort of thing. It will be important to actually kind of get it activated before you try to do anything with it, because it isn't completely there yet.
Want to be someone who said, oh sorry, but can we do it later? So this applies much more to life than to language learning, but really to both. If you just make and break promises to yourself and to others all the time, you'll stay low level at everything always. Number 21, make mistakes and then keep making them. I don't mean language mistakes. I mean life, habit, routine mistakes. Learn what doesn't work for you and then keep trying to do that thing. For example, I've noticed that I tend not to learn much of my language if I don't do it in the morning. So I could...
Oh, that's interesting. See, I'm the exact opposite. If I were doing it in the morning, I'd never get anywhere, because in the morning, there's only one thing I want to be doing, and that's actually sleeping.
Just keep on not doing it in the morning and stay where I am, or I could learn from that and actually try and do it every morning, but then I would get better at the language. Number 22 is the flip side of that. Find something that does really work for you, a certain time of day that you do your language learning, a certain kind of content that you really like. Learn that it works for you, and then don't do it again.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, the great thing is, if you do this a lot and actually have the experience of succeeding, you will find that a lot of the time you can find the exact same kind of content in other languages that you're interested in. Sometimes the identical content, but in that language. And it is extremely useful because it really helps you get up to speed quickly if you find the right stuff.
Don't do anything that interests you in the target language. Avoid compelling input of any kind. Don't do anything that you would find fun anyway. It's all just too hard. Just keep doing apps and grammar books. Number 24 is...
Yeah, I mean, that is...
Do less. Tell it...
That is the key. You want... The more the input that you use in a language, whatever it is, whether it's a book or a video or music or whatever, is something that you would be interested in inherently, regardless of the fact that it's in a particular language, the more you will get out of it.
Tell everyone who'll listen, I'm going to learn Turkish. I'm going to immerse for 1,000 hours in Portuguese. But tell everyone that and never actually do it. What's great about this is that your brain gets most of the same reward from just telling people what you're going to do that it would from actually doing the thing. So
yeah, this is
you
true.
never actually have to do the thing, and you can get all that reward now, and you can get it over and over again as you tell people about all the things you're going to do. You know that those people who disappear and are silent for months or maybe even years, and then they come out with something amazing, a song, an album, a book, a movie. They are
okay, that sounds like me. I will often not manage to do much of any... Like, it takes me forever to do writing. Any kind of writing. Because it takes me forever to actually sort of digest whatever it is I want to write about to the extent that I actually can do it. I am very sporadic when it comes to that sort of thing, and to, like, video essays and things like that. I have video essays that have been sitting around partially done for a while I get back to them and kind of work out where I want to go with them. It just takes forever between...
For a reason. And last but not least, number 25, wait until conditions are perfect. Wait until you've got time off work. Wait until there's a rainy day and you've got nothing else to do. Or until the perfect app comes along. Or until you've moved to the country, because you can definitely not access that country virtually.
Yeah, I mean, and let's just say, immersion at the beginner level, like actually immersion, lifestyle immersion, where you actually sort of surround yourself with the country, and physically go to the place where everybody's speaking it. The evidence does not really favor that. Because you really, in order to get anything out of that, you actually have to be at a certain level already. I hear an excitable dog over my head.
And there's always a time that only exists in your mind when it's going to be completely perfect for you to learn a language, but that time never actually arrives. So let's quickfire take all 25 of those, go through the exact opposite, and what you would get is, I'm going to read them so that we go fast. 1, ignore your genetics and circumstances. This is the best time to learn a language that there has ever been in history, right now. Think about that. 2, develop your focus. Meditate. Work on your ability to focus on one thing. Yes, it is a skill that can be trained.
And let me just say, I was talking earlier about when you're dealing with content where you actually don't understand a whole lot of it, but you understand some, and you can kind of gradually understand more and more as you start to notice patterns and things like that. Like, I mean, a more current example of that for me is, like, I've been watching fairly regularly, like, Al Mayadeen and Al Jazeera Arabic, and I understand, depending on, like, what somebody's saying, probably less than a third, probably even less than a quarter, but gradually I actually understand more because I will hear the same thing over and over again, and context starts to help me make sense out of what's going on, and, I have just very gradually found that I understand more and more as I continue to do that, even though I still don't understand most of it, but I'm sort of gradually beginning to make sense out of more of it.
Three, don't repeat the mistakes that were made in the classroom with grammar tables and verb conjugations. Spend more time with the language. 4, stick
absolutely.
to one language, no matter how tempting other languages are. You can learn another language if you want to learn that language, but don't just start learning another language because you heard it was cool or something. And that's number 5. Learn the language you want to learn because you want to learn it.
Yes.
Wanting to learn it is a good enough reason to learn it. Number 6, don't expect anything to work straight away. Give things a proper amount of time. It is a slow process. Number 7,
especially because it's an unconscious process. That's very key to understand. We're talking about something that you mostly do not consciously know is going on. And so your conscious awareness of the results you're getting will almost certainly be less than the actual results, because this is something that is happening. It's a background process.
Anyone who hasn't learned a language as an adult, and in case you're wondering, yes, I do speak Swedish quite fluently, and I started learning it
and his
as
pronunciation
a
is quite nice.
Number 8, immerse in basic
Ich
content
bin
or
auch
even
spät
things
gekommen.
meant for children. It can be really good fun, and you'll have an easier time with Surfshark VPN, link in the description. Number 9, tell yourself that your language is easy, and it will be easy because you'll spend so much time learning it that it
I don't know about that. Like, okay, because some languages are just complicated. But the thing is, I would say, instead of telling yourself that the language is easy, which it may or may not actually be given where you're coming from, recognize that your brain is actually made to do this. Your brain has an entire thing, linguists call it the language faculty, where all it does is process input and try to make sense out of it, and gradually, if it gets a lot of it, and it's the right kind of input, that it can focus on, and there's at least some kind of foothold that it can work with, it will gradually make sense out of it, even if it is a ridiculously hard language. Even if it's something like Georgian, which is, definitely doing language acquisition on hard mode because it is not related to any language non-Georgian speakers know. Literally all the languages it's related to are things spoken basically only by Georgian speakers, and in fact are endangered because of the dominance of Georgian. But the same processes apply. The language faculty still does its thing. It just means you have to be a bit more careful in picking your materials. So it's not so much, I mean, I don't think telling yourself that the language is easy if it isn't to you is necessarily helpful, but recognizing there's a whole thing in your brain that is for this and is actually really good at it if it's given the right materials.
It'll be easy. Number 10, prioritize language learning and make time for it, and then amazingly, you will have that time. Number 11, don't worry too much about finding the right kind of content. The content you choose is the right kind of content. Number 12.
Well, see, I don't know that I'd necessarily put it quite that way. I would say give content a chance. Like, if you think it might be good, and you haven't really got anything else in mind that you are going to try it out. So, give it a proper try. Spend some time on it. Listen to it. Watch it. Maybe watch it several times or whatever. Gradually. And see. And you can always be looking for other alternative content at the same time. But, I mean, if it's good, it will take time for it to actually help you start to get results. If it's no good, it will take time to really establish that it's no good. Something may just not be on your level yet. But you have to actually give it a proper go if you want to know for sure whether you're dealing with something that is actually helping you or isn't.
Get good at the language by doing things that are difficult in it. Read books, learn the words in them, and then the words in that book will not be so difficult and you can read more books. Number 13, get repeat exposure. Listen to this so many times that you
Jag pratar bättre finlandssvensk fordi utspråket är enklare.
by heart, that you can recite it. 14, start today. In 90 seconds this video will be finished. Now is the only time that truly exists. Do it. Number 15.
Well, of course, if the language you're working on is English, you've already started by watching this thing. Like, literally, this is the thing to keep in mind. You have, like, a lot of really profitable and because of that, well-known, like, language learning companies and stuff like that. And the thing is, the methods that are really effective are actually hard to monetize, because all it is literally you find things in the language and you just kind of look at them and pay attention to them. And it's just, the stuff is just there. It is basically available for free if you know how and where to look for it.
By all means, use apps to get started, but move on from those apps and supplement them with so much other stuff that you realize the app isn't needed. Number 16, Don't rely on AI or any other technology that isn't that great yet anyway. No one will be impressed if you use some kind of future technology that everyone will...
Yeah, I mean, and when it comes to language stuff, it's absolutely shitballs.
...have access to then anyway. People are only ever interested in what you can do with your human skills. Number 17, get uncomfortable. Do things that are hard so much that they become easy. Number 18, make rough drafts. Write something in the language that you know is terrible and have a native speaker check it. Record a video that you know sucks, have a native speaker check it, do it again, write more, etc. Number 19, learn things outside of the standard thing.
Yeah, in fact... Learn, like, if you have a specific subject, a specialized subject that you are interested in, start with that, actually. Start with that. I mean, because the language is a language. If you're acquiring the language by learning, I don't know, administrative law or something like that, or how to build, how to do a PC build, or how to repair a motherboard or something like that, because that's the thing you're interested in. The language is the language. You are still acquiring the language, even if you're doing it from this very specific niche area of it. So, do that, if that is what you're interested in. And actually, you can find a fair bit of content on just about any specialized area. And what you have acquired of the language in this way will help you to acquire it in more conventional parts of it. That is just how language works.
Conversation openers that only native speakers use, slang words that only they use, impressive enough that native speakers will respond in the language, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, in fact, I have had the experience. I was once offered Chelsea home tickets to Chelsea home games from a guy who was just impressed that I used the Verlan word for cops and said les keufs. It actually ended up taking me and a friend of mine who I believe is actually in chat right now, or was earlier anyway, to this private members club in Chelsea after hours one night in London. I mean, that learning those sorts of very specific things really does pay off. Oh yes, there you are, hex and definitive. Yeah, that was a memorable night also for another language related reason, because I was in there and I run into this woman in this fucking private members club in Chelsea. Yes, the posh gog. She said something, and I said, in Welsh. Because it was really loud, and I figured this would avoid me having to, try to continue hearing a conversation I wasn't able to process because it's just too fucking loud and everything. And she starts speaking to me in Welsh. It turns out she speaks better Welsh than I do, which is not hard, because there's a lot of room upward on my Welsh. My Welsh is very limited. But the last thing I was expecting is that I would randomly run into somebody in a private members club in Chelsea who was fluent in Welsh. She was apparently from someplace in North Wales, possibly where all the money in North Wales is, which would probably be in one very specific place.
Lessons, take them. Be a reliable person. It affects how others see you, but more importantly, how you see yourself. Number 21, make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. If you realize that a certain thing doesn't work for you, a certain time of day or whatever, stop trying to do that and find a time that does. Number 22, do the opposite. When you find something that works for you, find ways to do it as often as possible. Number 23.
When it comes to language learning methods, this also works this will translate from language to language. As I was saying, if you find a particular kind of input that always works for you really well in a language that you're trying to get started off in, you can probably find that stuff in the other languages you're interested in. For me, one of those things is cookery videos or how-to stuff that is well done. And chances are you can find that sort of thing on YouTube in whatever language. There are really well done Chinese cookery videos in Chinese, in Mandarin, with Chinese subs and English subs, and it's very clearly enunciated, and you can see exactly what's going on. And they've got those for Georgian. You can watch them in Arabic. Just about, that is one thing you can find in just about any language that is spoken by any significant number of people, and probably some that are not.
Yeah. Things that interest you in the target language. Watch
if you want to spend time with the headhunters.
Things that you would want to read. 24. Talk less, do more. Don't tell.
Unless you're talking your target language.
Stuff, do the stuff, and then tell people that you've done. And number 25. Start now, regardless of conditions. Conditions will never be perfect. So in 3 seconds after you've hit subscribe, go and learn your target language. Lo quiero.
And for anyone who is ever in London and wants a chance at impressing a French guy with Chelsea season tickets, and wants to know what pub that was the Warwick Castle. Which was the weirdest thing, because it is an extremely expensive part of London, and just a regular, just good old salt of the earth working class pub right in the middle of it, surrounded by houses that were going for 3 million quid. And it's just this regular and local right there. It looks like just any old pub. Green King, I think. Beer wasn't too bad. But I'm noticing the time. It is time for me to wrap it up for today. Thanks to everyone who joined in, despite all the technical difficulties and apparently a very low frame rate, judging from the stats I was looking at on my OBS earlier. But, yeah, hopefully that will not be the case tomorrow, and we will go back and we'll be on Twitch, play some more, we'll play some more Cult of the Lamb and look at some other stuff about languages and language learning. Thank you to everyone. Have a good evening. It is time for me to do eating-related activities.